Hi, gang. Bob Boving here for the Mystery Project and another new episode of our Nova Scotia series, Clean Sweep, featuring Bonnie and Ben Marsden. Bonnie's natural curiosity never sleeps, and she pays attention to it, even though it pulls her into some strange company and situations. And when she discovers injustice hiding in the kelp, she's a shark. The play is called Bottom-Feeding Species, written by Al Silver and starring Deborah Allen and Richard Donat as Bonnie and Ben Marsden.
Didn't we make up a big tub of coleslaw just a few days ago?
Yeah, then Robbie came home over the weekend.
Ah, right. I guess they don't feed him much in that community college cafeteria.
McGinty, now here's Bob Smiley on location at Finnan's Cove. Well, I tell you, George, we got a mini riot on the wharf in the normally peaceful village of Finnan's Cove. The situation is, the town has its own fish plant, which is desperate for work, but this truckload of shrimp is headed for Confederation Sea Products' giant processing plant on the other side of the province.
What a sin.
Well, they've let the truck go on its way now. It seems like they didn't really want to do any real damage, just send a message. The crowd is breaking up now. I'll see if I can get a... Excuse me, sir, might I ask your name?
No.
What was it you and your friends were chanting? It sounded something like Harlem. What does it mean?
They'll know what it means.
How about you, ma'am?
You heard him.
Well, I see by my watch that it's time to go back to the studio and George Euphrates with our new after-school program of rap and hip-hop.
Didn't sound like Harlem to me. Sounded more like Arwie or Harley.
Could be hourly, like in wages. You never know with accents down the South Shore.
Well, I guess they're certainly losing some wages. If all their shrimp processing's being stolen by Confederation Sea.
Well, not exactly stolen. I guess they could process shrimp at the Finnan's Cove plant, but they never have before.
How do you know?
Heard a bit of fire hall talk about it. Seems nobody's ever fished shrimp out of Finnan's Cove before. Then all of a sudden this year, DFO grants a shrimp license for that area to a fisherman up Maitland's Harbor. A fellow named McTavish.
Henry McTavish?
No, a cousin or something, probably.
Why would the Department of Fisheries and Oceans grant the one and only license to someone who doesn't even live there?
If you can figure out some reason why DFO does anything, there's about 50,000 fishermen like to talk to you.
They could ask DFO why.
And get a bunch of gobbledygook for an answer. The guys behind the desk ain't thinking about anything except towing the line to get a bigger desk.
They're not all like that.
If you say so. You got the carrot peeler over there? Thank you. I don't know anything more about Finnan's Cove and Confederation Sea Products than what I already said. But I can tell you that the guys I know trying to make a living fishing don't trust what anybody tells them anymore. There's been so many different studies and surveys and opinions about how many fish of what kind are down under what parts of the salt water doing what. And they all come up with different explanations.
And nobody really knows what's going on under the surface.
Yeah, I guess that's about covers it.
Makes for a kind of frustrated situation.
Kind of. After 4 or 5 years of, you can't fish here, better fish over there. No, you can't fish there. Maybe you shouldn't fish at all. And we'll retrain you for something. Whoops, oh, we don't have enough budget to retrain you.
But banging on trucks and shouting on wharfs won't solve anything.
Well...
Yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, the way things operate these days, everybody knows Mummy doesn't listen unless you throw a tantrum. This is my favorite part, when I get to throw in the mayonnaise and pickle juice and squish it all together.
I could do that.
Your hands are too big. Well, whatever's going on at Finnan's Cove, it's a long way from us.
A long ways away from us.
I'm kind of like a new down the river blue, but they say something fishy, can't wait to finish it. Hello?
Is this Bonnie's cleaning service?
Mom!
Hello? Is this...
It is. I'm Bonnie Marsden.
I'm Eleanor McTavish in Maitland's Harbour. I feel kind of foolish and lazy calling someone else to clean my house. But since we suddenly got this shrimp quota out of the blue, I'm up to my neck with doing the books and sometimes helping out on the boat. I realize Maitland's Harbour may be out of your regular territory, but...
But anybody close to you is a bit nervous about getting too close to you just now.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bonnie. And I'm Eleanor. Come on in. Tom's out on the boat. I was just taking a tea break before tackling the books again. Maybe you'd like to sit for a cup of tea before tackling my vacuum cleaner. Actually, I'd just as soon bring mine in from the car. I'm used to it. But I wouldn't mind a cup of tea or half a cup. Half costs the same as a whole. Like I said on the phone, I feel kind of foolish getting somebody else to clean my house. But you know how it is these days. Everybody's either unemployed or overwhelmed. From what I heard on the radio last week, a lot of people in Finnan's Cove figure it's your husband's fault they're unemployed. They don't understand. Tom doesn't have any choice but to get his shrimp truck to Confederation Sea Products. Back when we were starting out, the banks had already stopped giving loans to people buying fishing boats. So Confed Sea kindly fronted us the money for a down payment on the boat. And we pay it back in dribs and drabs when we can. They say that in the old days the fish merchants used to own us. Still do. The bit I heard on the radio, blocking the truck on the wharf, they were yelling something that sounded like Harley or Arlie. Harley. One night somebody spray painted it on the side of our boat. What does it mean? I don't have a clue. But one of the shouters on the radio, when he was asked, just said, well, they'll know what it means. I guess by they, he meant Confederation Sea Products. Confed sure as heck don't tell us all their secrets. I think probably all it means is something somebody started yelling and everybody else took it up. I just hope those goons get tired soon of shearing close to our nets and crowding us in at the wharf. It's not going to change anything. Well, I guess I better get back to it. And I'd better get started. I haven't touched the place in 2 weeks. I'm afraid you've got a heck of a job in front of you. Pitch my tent in the wet cement. Eleanor, I hate to interrupt you. Please do. But I was just finishing up with a little dusting, and I went and knocked over this photograph and broke the frame. I can take it home and fix it. With 4 rambunctious kids and one of them still at home, I got to be kind of an expert with China glue. And my husband can cut glass. Well, there's no crime breaking something you can fix. Wish more people thought that way. Well, the picture looks like it was taken around here. Out back. It was a family reunion, and everybody had to take their turn standing in front of the rose arbor to get recorded for posterity. She's a pretty woman. I'll say. That's Tom's kid sister, Angela. He always says she got all the looks in the family. She moved to Upper Canada and married a guy up there. Well, they came back here so she could have a family wedding. But other than that, we haven't seen her for 5 years. But we talked to her on the phone a lot, and... no. Don't worry about fixing the picture. I always hated that frame anyway. I got a better one that picture will fit into. But just leave it here, okay? Okay. Well, I'll just start ferrying my gear out to the car, and then we can settle up. I'll give you a hand. Oh, I can make 2 trips. Oh, I have to check the mail anyway. Maybe I'll find something to look at besides small print numbers. In the trunk? Please. Thanks. Thank you. I can't believe you got the whole place cleaned in half a day. Takes me forever. Well, it's not that big a house, and I do it for a living. If you've got a free day in another couple of weeks... Damn. What's wrong? Oh, it's just... Some idiot scrawled something on a piece of paper and put it in our mailbox. It's just one word. Harley. Why the hell would anyone? They want you to know they know where you live. It's crazy, Ben. Someone coming all the way up from Finnan's Cove just to intimidate the McTavishes.
Well, they probably think it's crazy the McTavishes are coming all the way down from Maitland's Harbor just to steal their shrimp.
But one boat fishing shrimp wouldn't be enough to make or break a processing plant. There can't be all that much shrimp in the bay if DFO's only issuing one license.
Well, you know how it is, Bonnie. If someone walked into our yard, started picking apples off one of our trees, even only a few, you'd get in a feuding mood.
This seems more serious than just somebody getting in a feuding mood.
Nothing's more serious than a Nova Scotia feud.
More organized.
Oh.
Eleanor McTavish is whistling past the graveyard if she thinks that Harley might be just something somebody started yelling for no reason. Everybody else joined in because it sounded good. It's like all Finnan's Cove has turned into some sort of secret society lynch mob.
Come on, Bonnie. They haven't tried to hurt anybody. They're just trying to get their opinion heard.
And what's their opinion?
Well, I don't know. Just seems pretty obvious that they're not happy about Confederation C and the McTavishes.
But if the people in Finnan's Cove, whoever's organizing this Harley business, would just talk to the McTavishes, in 5 minutes they'd find out the McTavishes are just as much stuck behind a rock as they are.
Seems to me that when people find somebody to blame for their troubles, the last thing they want to hear is that the bad guys got the same kinds of troubles.
No, there's more to this than just a bunch of sour folks in a tavern getting worked up enough to throw a few rocks. I don't have any houses to clean tomorrow afternoon. I think I'll take a little drive down the shore.
Bonnie, didn't you say something about a lynch mob?
Oh, that was just a figure of speech. Really? Hi.
Hi there.
Just a cup of coffee, please. I haven't been down this way for years. Well, my dad used to bring us down here to go for rides on his friend's boat.
Where are you from?
Membertou County. Tissaquid Village.
It's pretty up there. You just going for a drive?
Sort of. But while I was passing by, I thought, I get curiosity fits about stuff that doesn't make any practical difference to me. Like maybe I'll hear something on the radio and it puts a bug in my ear and I can't get it out.
Sometimes.
Well, last week there was something on the radio about some trouble going on here and people were yelling Harley, but nobody would say what it meant.
You with the police or something?
Look at my hands. You know many police officers spend 8 hours a day pushing a scrub brush?
No.
I'm just a cleaning lady who gets curiosity fits sometimes.
Well, it's not up to me to say. Not that it's any big, terrible secret, but up in Membertou County, do you have any fellas who maybe seem a little rough around the edges, but they've actually helped a lot of people out over the years?
Yeah, one or two.
Well, let's just say Harley's got something to do with something like that. And the people who should know what it means sure as heck do, though they'll pretend they don't. Oh, hi, Mr. Morton.
Mister, feeling pretty formal today, Edna? Could you let me have a bag of that leaf tobacco? I'll pay you Friday when my Pogey check comes in.
Here you go.
Thanks. You didn't write it down.
I know I don't have to.
Well, see you Friday.
Well, I gotta go.
Hey, wait a minute. You forgot to pay for your coffee.
Oh, do you?
But it's only 75 cents a cup.
Keep it. Damn. Come on. Come on. Yes.
Yeah?
Your mailbox says John Morton, but everybody calls you Harley, don't they? Because of your old motorcycle?
So?
And that'd be your boat pulled up on shore, the Harley.
Be the bank's boat soon, the way things are going. You were in the cafe.
I followed you.
What?
My name's Bonnie Marsden. I'm a friend of... Well, I'm acquainted with... I'm the cleaning lady for Tom and Eleanor McTavish.
Guess you better come in. Sit down. Like a beer?
No, thanks. I'm driving.
Homemades. They gotta go in the glasses anyway, so you could have a half or a third.
Guess I could handle a third. What I wanted to say is, there's no point harassing the McTavishes.
I know.
You do?
Here you go.
Thanks.
Skull. The McTavishes just got offered an opportunity and they took it. Not a lot of opportunities kicking around these days. Not their fault they're indentured to Confed C.
Then why don't you leave them alone?
I am. I'm leaving everyone alone. I told the guys and the girls when all this started that it wasn't going to get anybody anywhere except into trouble. People like us ain't never swayed a company like Confederation C and never will. But they're going ahead anyways. I don't have anything to do with it.
Then why is everyone shouting Harley and spray painting it on the boats?
I'll tell you how it goes. For 10 years now, I've been telling DFO there's shrimp in the bay out past the arm. And they've been telling me I'm crazy. The water's too shallow, or the water's too deep, or the water's too cold, or the water's too warm. Finally, last year, they got sick of me pestering them, and they granted me a one-time research license. Yep, there's shrimp out there, at least enough to keep one boat busy without fishing them out. So DFO told me they'd start regularly granting one license for a quota every year, and I put myself in hock for good shrimping gear. They granted a license, all right, to Thomas McTavish way up the shore.
Why?
No way to prove why, but it don't take a genius to figure it out. Confederation C's got a lot of money and a lot of pull. They got wind of the research license story. No kind of story a fisherman likes spreading better than someone proving the experts are idiots. Anyway, they leaned on their political connections to see the license went to Tom McTavish, who just happens to be indentured to Confed C.
What a sin.
Just business as usual. Anybody says bottom-feeding species have been fished out ain't had much to do with politics.
So the people banging on trucks and shouting Harley figure that if Confed C send the police after you, they'll prove they know who Harley is and about the research license, and it'll all come out in the open.
Some do. Some are just mad as hell and want to whack something. Won't work anyways. Confed C didn't get where they are by getting sucked in so easy. They'll just wait it out. Without Confed C pointing a finger at me, the best the cops could do is send in undercover agents to sniff out ringleaders. And around here...
They wouldn't get very far.
People whose granddaddies were once rum runners grow up suspicious. Well, the bank can take my boat, and they can take my house, but they can't take my old hog motorcycle. Won't be the first time she's been my only friend. Back when I was young and foolish, I used to go bar hopping in Halifax and white lining all the way home.
White line?
If you keep her on the white lines, you can open up the throttle and to hell with the traffic. If you don't run into a wide load. Guess I just ran into a hell of a wide load.
I'd say you've got a lot of friends around here.
Yeah. Well, no accounting for taste.
Yeah, but there's something about that story that don't fit.
What's that?
Well, you know how everybody used to assume that everybody had to be a supporter of some political party? On one team or the other?
Used to.
And you remember back when I got arm twisted into helping out old Pete Nolan's campaign and he went and lost for the first time in 30 years? So I lost my job with the Parks Department?
I'm not likely to forget.
Well, while I was doing grunt work on that campaign, I learned more about down-home politics than I ever wanted to know. The family that owns Confederation Seed Products have been big-time Conservative Party donors since Confederation. Well, right now, we got the Liberals in power in the province and in Ottawa. Confed-C hasn't got any friends in government, just enemies.
Then why would... Upper Canada.
Huh?
Eleanor McTavish all of a sudden changed her mind about me bringing her sister-in-law's picture home to fix it. Oh, there's something fishy.
Oh, you didn't say that.
Well, there was a crucifix on the bedroom wall, so they're Catholics. Not many Catholics around there.
Where are you going?
To church.
I cooked some soup for me and Melissa for supper. Since Robbie ain't home, there's leftovers. I could warm it up for you.
Thanks.
Find anything in church?
Oh, yeah. It took some looking through their marriage records, but I figured if Tom McTavish's pretty little sister had only been home once in 5 years for the family wedding, it had to have been 2 or 3 years ago. Once I had the date, I just had time to get to the local newspaper records before they closed. Angela McTavish, now Angela Doucette, married an older man in his 40s.
That old?
They live in Upper Canada, all right, in Ottawa. I took a long shot and called a government 800 number from a phone booth saying I was traveling to Ottawa on business and wanted to make an appointment with a Mr. Oliver James Doucette. He's a very hard man to make appointments with. I couldn't even get as far as his secretary. Turns out he's an assistant deputy minister at
the Department of
Fisheries and Oceans.
So Confed didn't have anything to do with it?
Nope. Tom McTavish heard the story of you showing up the experts and how DFO was going to grant a regular shrimp license. So he just called up his brother-in-law.
Or called up his pretty little sister and got her to twist her husband's arm.
Either way, it's a pretty easy trail to follow, once you know who Tom McTavish's brother-in-law is. What's funny?
I got a brother-in-law, too. He's a lawyer.
Well, you've had a busy day.
More than I'd expected.
I sure would like to see the look on that assistant deputy minister's face when he gets the papers from the lawyer.
Oh, I don't know if he'll get the papers, but his boss will. I wonder what we'd have done if we'd been in the same position as the McTavishes, seeing a chance to sneak in through the back door.
You know what we would have done. Kept on scrimping to pay the mortgage month to month.
Are you so sure? You've been known to do a few things that aren't strictly legal.
So have you.
What?
Breaking into credit unions to get information on suspected murderers, making phone calls under false pretense.
Oh.
But there's illegal and then there's dishonest. Stealing the opportunity from the person who made it happen, well, that's about as low as you can get. Anyway, it was awful decent of you to go to all that trouble for that Harley fella, running around to churches and newspaper offices.
Oh, maybe he reminded me a little of somebody else I know. Somebody who deserves more breaks than he gets.
Somebody else, you know. How many bikers you been hanging around with?
Idiot.
I think you broke my jaw.
Good.
You going to leave that light on all night long?
So, sweet little Eleanor McTavish lied through her teeth when she told me she didn't have a clue what Harley meant.
Well, if she was a real practiced liar, she never would have let slip about her sister-in-law in Upper Canada.
Oh, I think she would have been a lot more careful with anybody else. Nobody worries too much about prattling onto a dumb old cleaning lady.
You telling me you've turned into an old lady?
Well, middle-aged. Be old soon.
Maybe. But you'll never be no lady. It's not a chance. Oh, lady mine.
You've been listening to Bottom Feeding Species, written by Elf Silver, the latest episode of Clean Sweep. Deborah Allen and Richard Donat starred as Bonnie and Ben Marsden. The others in the cast were Pam Lutz as Eleanor McTavish, Tom Haney as Harley, Chris O'Neill as the waitress, George Jordan as Bob Smiley, and Ashley Swain as Melissa. The music was composed by Scott McMillan and David McIsaac, and was performed by Gordon Stobie, Jamie Gatti, and Andre Lacroix, along with the two composers. The recording engineer was Pat Martin. Sound effects, Dermot Kenny. The associate producer was Peggy Hemsworth. Casting was by John Dunsworth and Alex Duncan. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. Clean Sweep was produced and directed in Halifax by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening and inviting your comments.